how are y'all doing tonight? So tonight we're gonna try. I think we might try the Mega Hive first. Let's see. I was able to snag a couple of exotics over the weekend. In fact, I'll show them to you. So I got Hive Mind Resonator and Aegis of the Nomad. Now, the one thing I noticed about this one is that it only has 2 stats on it. They are higher in the 60s, but it's only 2 stats. And this exotic has 3, and my other 2 legendaries have 3 on them. So my guess is that this one's probably going to get swapped out in the near future. It does give me a Jarvis barrier, though, for range critical attacks. And I do like doing range attacks. So I'm going to keep that one for now. -4, I don't care about that. Okay. So we're at 145, and I really like this, the original exotic artifact that they gave you, the 6% increased critical chance when the damage boost is active is pretty nice, because right now my crit chance is 24%, so if I have the damage boost on, it's actually 30%. So I'm just gonna post on Twitter real quick. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of feedback on the mic. Do you guys hear that? Maybe not. Okay, that's Twitch and YouTube. And we are tweeted. Okay. Okay. Should we go for it? See, can we get exotics from Mega Hives? That's the one thing I'm not sure about. If you know, feel free to shout it out. Let's see, can you get exotics from Mega Hive? Is it a guaranteed drop every time? Or is it just once per week? I think it says in the objectives you can get it's one of the missions, I think, is to complete the Heroic Hive Gauntlet. Is it this one? Is it Heroic Gauntlet 1? Yeah. So it is that. Mega Hive Gauntlet. Okay. Well, we can try it. I have not tried that before, and I don't have... All my other characters are kind of low level, so... I guess we'll give it a shot. Is this the 14th floor one? We'll wait a little while for people. I've noticed on some streams since the OLT came out that the wait times have been pretty bad, so I think the matchmaking for the Mega Hive was completely broken. Even though they added it, it was broken, and then for the OLT, it was taking some people like half an hour to get a full team. So I don't want to burn all of our time waiting for that. So there was a couple of discussion topics I wanted to cover tonight. Kind of wanted to do a recap on what we covered last week's for the people that are just joining us now. And I'll just do kind of another little channel intro. And then I wanted to talk about the faith topics. And then I wanted to talk about the games that I'm excited, the upcoming releases that I'm excited for. So we're going to add that into the mix as well. So while we're waiting for a few people to join here, this channel just started a couple weeks ago. The streaming side of the channel. My YouTube channel has actually been around for about 3 years, a little more than that, about 3.5 years. I do a podcast called The Practice Squad for football fans. We go over NFL football news, games, predictions, fun little bets that I do with my roommate, my former college buddy. He was my roommate actually for a couple years, but he and I do co-host a podcast during the NFL season. So we'll start up around late August, early September timeframe, and then we'll go through the full NFL season every week, usually Tuesday nights. So anyway, the purpose of this isn't to cross promote, just mentioning that like the origin of this channel was actually to talk about football on the Practice Squad podcast, and then I also was inspired to create some Destiny content. I was a big Destiny fan, Destiny and Destiny 2. Not quite so much anymore. I've kind of faded away from that game, but I did make one video for that, and that was more of like a pre-recorded thing. And then my the third prong of the channel is streaming, to do live streaming. So for my wife's and my wedding anniversary in June, she gave me a capture card and a video cam because I've been wanting to try out streaming for a while. So I finally got around to start doing that in the, I think it was this is now the third week, so roughly middle of July of this year, and we've started streaming. We've done a couple different games. We started Immortals Phoenix Rising. We played Portal. So we are gonna do some retro playthroughs like that. Puzzle games especially, because I'm a big fan of puzzle games. We've had several Marvel streams. So that's I guess one half of it. The other half is, I guess I'm gonna give this like one more minute to see if someone else joins, and then because I don't want to lose this person. I'd rather go with two than with nobody. So the gaming is one half of this. Gaming has been a big hobby of mine for a long time. Ever since I was a pretty young kid, and so it's just awesome to be able to just be out in public and to be playing games and sharing that with you guys. But the other half of this part of my channel is to talk about my faith. I'm a believer in Christ. I've been a follower of him for pretty much my whole life. I grew up in a Christian home, and I started to really take my faith seriously, make it my own, late in high school, junior year of high school. And I think we got 3, so we're going to go ahead and start up here. And so then after high school, I went to a secular university here in California to study mechanical engineering. And I work as a mechanical engineer at a local aerospace company. So my hope with this channel is to, while we're playing games and just kicking back in the evening and having a good time, to also get a chance to share with you about my faith, why I believe what I believe, and to just get a chance to kind of discuss Christianity in a safe, gracious, loving, kind, critical thinking atmosphere. I'm happy for you guys to join in to chat if you have questions, want to talk about specific things, if there's something on your mind. My only rule is that people are gracious with each other, that you're gracious with me and I'm gracious with you, and that we, if there's a topic that we're discussing on the channel, that we stay focused on that topic. And if you bring up a question and it's something on your mind, you're like, I need to ask this before I forget about it, that's cool too. And we'll try to cover that maybe on the next stream or later in that stream if we have time. I'll take a note of it, and I will try to come back to it as soon as we can. So I'm not here to try to demand anything of you or force you to believe anything or anything like that, since first of all, I can't do that. But that's not my goal. My hope is just to be able to share some things with you, and if you choose to think about them, that's a bonus. So we already lost somebody. That's not a good sign. But I'm expecting that. Yeah, see, we're going to lose another person here. It's going to be just me.
Head for the location on your HUD.
Yeah, I'm not going to do this alone, so let's go back to the Quinjet. I had a feeling this was going to be rough, so I think what we're going to do is we'll try this probably 1 or 2 more times. Hopefully we can make it stick. So to catch you guys up, last week I told you a little bit about my personal story, uh, kind of my journey as a Christian through my early life in high school and up till my 30-year-old self now. Um, and then we also talked about what it means to be a Christian. What do you need to believe? What does it take to become a Christian? What do you need to believe? And then we also talked about how becoming a Christian can change you. What sort of paradigms will shift in your life as a result of becoming a believer. And the purpose of that was really to just explain. Some people wonder. Uh, Let me put it this way: some people believe things because they're true, and some people choose to believe things because of what they think that belief will do. Um, in other words, they choose to believe something because of its consequences rather than whether it's actually true or not. And personally, I'm the kind of person that likes to believe in things because they're true, not because of what impact they'll have. Sometimes believing things that are true is very hard because I don't like what they imply. But it's not my job to determine. Uh, my feelings don't dictate reality. Reality is reality. I do believe in objective reality. I believe that God exists. I believe He's the creator of the universe. I believe that He in His essence uh, is has created a objective reality that we live in. So my feelings are irrelevant to that. Uh, but the reason I brought up why being a Christian may change you is because some people want to know. They just want to know, like, what is. It's sort of the what's in it for me, but not maybe not so. Maybe a little bit more genuine than that. I wouldn't want to put words in your mouth, but if you were looking at it from the perspective of how might this change me? What should I expect to happen as a result of this? I think that's a fair question to ask. I don't think that should determine whether you believe it. You should believe it because it's true. But if you want to know what kind of impact it has, I think it's also good to know what your belief entails and what's going to happen to your life as a result of it. So we discussed that for a while as well, and then I also intended to follow through after that. The fourth topic, if you will, was to talk about kind of some miscellaneous things related to Christianity, namely, what do I have to gain from saying the things that I'm talking about? What do I have to gain from making this a part of my channel? Because I believe I should be transparent with you about that. And then also, why should I be talking about these on stream as opposed to in some other context? And then I also wanted to talk about how misinformation about Christianity has spread in our culture, specifically in America, and how the understanding of its core has been warped by the media. And by media, I don't necessarily mean news media, although I think that's also, it has been warped by news media in a variety of ways. But really the focus for our discussion is going to be on video games and movies and television. Because there are,
uploading the entrance's coordinates.
I'll call them pseudo-Christian themes in many games today, and if you stop to think about it, there's actually a lot of games that have been inspired by, that either have art or elements of their plot or certain characters that have been inspired by
I've marked the hive's entry terminal on your HUD.
by Christianity. or certain elements of things that people believe are part of Christianity. I'll say it that way because I don't want to necessarily. I don't buy into a lot of what people have done with it because I think it's either untrue or a mischaracterization. So I don't want to call it a part of Christianity, just something that people believe to be representative of it. And we'll get a chance to kind of clarify that as we go too. But it'll be a fascinating discussion because there's a lot of potential games and movies we could talk about. And since if you're watching this channel, you probably play video games for at least some of your time, which means that you'd be familiar with some aspect of the gaming landscape. You may not be a variety video game player, but you may you'll be familiar with some major games, so you may not be familiar with every game that I bring up, but I'll try to keep the examples to games that are kind of common knowledge. Like, I won't be bringing up Call of Duty, but Call of Duty would be a good example of something that I think most of us would at least understand. I actually don't play Call of Duty. I'm not really into the Twitch shooter, kind of Twitch FPS type games. I'm just not very good at them, and they're not really my cup of tea. I have played some of the Call of Duties for some amount of time, and I had some fun in college playing with buddies, but that's not really my cup of tea anymore. But that kind of game that has sort of that general, people know what Call of Duty is and they're aware of it. Not everybody knows what this game is. For example, Marvel's Avengers. Like, this isn't a incredibly popular or well-known game. So I guess now that I think about it, just to try to give an example of what I'm actually talking about, a game that has taken some inspiration from at least cultural Christianity, if you will. There's a 2D Metroidvania game called Blasphemous that you may have heard of. That's also not a super well-known game either. And it's actually a pretty well-made game. I played through it and beat it. And that has some very, very strong religious imagery and very gross, actually. It's very kind of disgusting, some of the stuff. Not for kids by any means. And my intent is not to go into describe it in any kind of detail, just that it does use imagery, and it's actually it has a very negative take on its understanding of Christian history and specifically Catholic elements of Catholic theology. So if you haven't heard of that one, I'm trying to think of another game that might have some.
Another enemy defeated.
It is so much fun to do that.
The team are no longer a threat. Okay, take a breather, kids.
So no disconnects yet. Are we really doing a mega hive right now? I feel like I thought mega hives were more than 6 floors. So I should have written down some examples because I'm having a hard time coming up with major ones from the top of my head. I can think of lots of like more obscure games that have that kind of imagery and ideas. Actually, so if any of you are familiar with the Dark Souls games, those games actually have take substantial amounts of their art, the artwork, all of the like the cathedrals and the churches and some of the different factions and stuff. They all take inspiration from Christian imagery and theology. Even if they're not talked about explicitly, they're certainly there. I guess really the main reason for bringing up that topic, for talking about what sorts of things what sorts of games have that kind of content in them, is because as someone that believes in Christ and is a follower of Christ, the last thing I want is for that to be misrepresented to the point where people refuse to believe in it because they have a misconception of what it is. And people that would believe it if they understood what it truly is, but don't believe in it because all they know about it is basically just misinformation. And we know that happens all the time. Right? We will oftentimes not believe things or not accept things because we either don't have all the information about it, or we have wrong information about it. So my hope is that with some knowledge and critical thinking, people will, those of you that choose to stick around on my channel, will get a better idea of what Christianity is all about, so that those sorts of misconceptions won't remain in your minds. Okay, so was that floor number 2? So you may ask, what do I have to gain from sharing about my faith publicly like this? And what do I have to gain by talking about this while I'm streaming games? And the answer to that, pure and simple, is that if one of you heard this message, that we are all broken and sinful, that we are in need of help, and that Christ came and died for us, died for our sins, so that we could
destroy the turbine.
be forgiven
AIM has sent forces to
and spend eternity with God. If one of you was to choose to believe that it doesn't, that would mean that there is another member of the body of Christ, and I would be able to celebrate in the hope and joy that brings, and that's all it is. I don't get money from this. I don't get
Well done.
fame from this.
You disabled a turbine.
If anything, it's probably going to be harder for me to get famous because of this. That's not why I'm doing this.
Excellent. Turbine destroyed.
That is the only reason. I want to share in the hope and the joy that I have in Christ, plain and simple. I don't want to keep that all for myself. There's just too much. There's just too much joy, too much hope, too much truth, too much satisfaction and true wisdom and knowledge that comes from being a follower of Christ, and I would never want any of you to miss out on that. So that's why I'm doing this. And then if you ask, well, why are you streaming it? Well, I mean, I don't have another platform right now in my life to really share these things explicitly. I have things in my life, like I have a full-time job. I have neighbors and things like that, but I don't have a platform where I can really share in any kind of like official capacity like this. So I just felt like it made a lot of sense to talk about it. And what's better than mixing two of my favorite things together, gaming and
Good talk.
my walk with Christ. So, like hopefully you guys understand that and understand my motivation for this. I genuinely do want
Head for the location
what's
on your
best for you. Want what's best for you guys, and I hope to get to know you too. Like through this, if you decide to stick around and type a few things in chat, like. I invite discussion. I want us to be discussing, to be thinking critically, to be asking and answering edifying questions. And also, like, just because we're talking about a topic doesn't mean you guys can't talk about the game. Like, if you guys have comments about the game, the gameplay, go for it. Like, I want to talk about this game. Absolutely. So, I get this feeling that we didn't select the Mega Hive, that, like, I selected the wrong thing or something, because I could have sworn that the Mega Hive was more floors than just one, or is it just more floors than just 6?
The enemies have been defeated.
We're ripping through this. This is great. This shouldn't take very long. We just have to hope that none of us get disconnected at this point. So I decided to go for the flashiest skin that I could find. I had enough of the currency. I don't remember what it's called.
So about the
The,
clear formation we were discussing.
Not this again.
I was thinking that if
Let's
you
see,
just
this,
unguarded the event of a frontal
the
Rogers,
units.
look,
I had
no
enough
more,
of the
okay?
units to
You're just gonna have to wing it.
wing
to
it,
buy
Yeah, it's fun.
this skin. I think it was units. I don't think I used credits for it. I have not spent any real money on this game. I refuse to do that. I don't spend real money on microtransactions. But if there's in-game currency like the units in this game, for example, I will buy skins occasionally if the game has that as a system. Like if you can buy skins with in-game currency that you can earn in the game without spending money, then I will do that sometimes.
Thanks, Avengers! That did it. Theo, work your magic.
You're safe now.
Every member of the elite team must be defeated.
So I had to go to the grocery store tonight before the stream to pick up some stuff for the week, and on my drive back, there was a pickup truck that was driving 2 lanes over to the left of me, probably like, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 feet in front of me, and the driver was carrying
Another agent down.
it looked like a queen, maybe a king mattress in the bed of the truck. Just, it wasn't strapped down, nothing, it was just kind of sitting at an angle inside the bed of the truck. And we were just driving down the road. It's probably like a, I don't know, 35, 40 mile an hour road. It just falls out of the truck. And there was a car that was probably about 3 or 4 car lengths behind him or her, that just had to swerve out of the way because the mattress pretty much took up the whole lane. And it took a moment for the truck to notice that the mattress had fallen out. And then eventually they pulled over, and I think they were gonna, I don't know what they were gonna do, how they were gonna go grab a queen mattress in the, like, on the left-hand lane of this 40-mile-an-hour road. There's not a whole lot of traffic at where I live at this time of night, around 9:30 p.m., but enough that I'm really curious actually how they were going to go retrieve that thing, especially if it was only one person in the car, because I don't know how you get a queen mattress back to a truck that's like 100 feet in front of you without help. So it was unfortunately I was too far away, and lane wise and also speed and where I was going to actually like stop to help the person. That would have been pretty difficult to do. But if I had been behind them, I would have pulled over and tried to help, because I honestly don't know if there was another person. I would have felt bad if they hadn't had a second person to help. If they did have two people, it probably wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But, like, why was the mattress not strapped down? I've never owned a truck or tried to transport, you know, large things in the back before. The largest thing I've ever transported was a Christmas tree. Every year I'll squeeze a Christmas tree into our Toyota Camry, which of course is not sized for that, so the trunk is not sized for that, so we'll just have it sticking out the back. That's pretty common around Christmas time to see people with trees coming out the back like that. But even then, like, that's secured down with twine and stuff, so it's not going to come flying out of the trunk. I've yet to see a Christmas tree fall out of someone's car. You know, one thing I forgot to check was to make sure that it's showing the right game. That we're in the right directory on Twitch, because I'm not sure that we are. Last time, for some reason, the restream, it doesn't let me update the game that I'm playing, and I think it might have defaulted to a different, back when we were playing Immortals, it might have defaulted to the wrong game. So now that we're done, I'll check that. Hopefully we got an exotic. I'm not sure. Fingers crossed.
Excellent
What's
work.
this? This looks like
You've dealt
an
another
exotic.
blow to aim. You're not finished yet.
No, it's an epic. What? But I thought that... Okay. Omega level threat. Oh, you have to do multiple... I see. So it'll be another gauntlet with 6 floors, probably. Okay. I was gonna say, that felt too easy. Okay, so before we start that up, I'm just gonna go ahead and check the channel real quick. Nope, we're in the right channel. Okay. Yeah, I've got to figure out a way to get these settings to default so I don't have to update them every time. Cause I gotta go down here and update all of the video details every time. It's not cool. Okay. Okay, so that's fixed at least. All right. All right, so let's start this next one. Hopefully we can get some people to join in. Those are low stats. Those all seem pretty low to me too. Okay. Honestly, we tore through that, so I'm thinking if we might be able to just do this with one person. With one person in my backpack. Just kidding. I got carried on that last one. I don't have burst damage for my Captain America yet. And I don't know if I ever will, honestly. I don't know what the good builds for him are. I think more of my damage, I'm more of a ranged focus build right now. But that's just by happenstance, not necessarily by choice. I'd probably prefer to be melee. Although being ranged does have its benefits. You can avoid AoE stuff easier. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and ready up, I think. So last week we talked about what does it take to become a Christian? What is Christianity? What is the core of Christianity? What is the belief system? What does it mean? What is it all about? Well, there's basically just two beliefs involved. The first is admitting your sin and recognizing that you're broken. And the second is believing that Christ died to pay the price for your sins, forgiving you, and was resurrected to defeat death, to prove himself the Son of God, and give us everlasting life and hope. And God's Word, his eternal, inspired, everlasting Word, says, better than I ever could, in the book of John, chapter 3, verse 16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever should believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And Romans chapter 10, verses 9 and 10 say, because if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. Now, on its surface, the main point of each of those sets of verses is fairly clear, but I want to parse them out a little bit. So John 3:16 starts by saying, for God so loved the world that he gave his only Son. So what's so fascinating about God and his message to us is that the story of our redemption, the story of our salvation, the story of us being forgiven of our sins starts with not us, but with God. We did not choose to follow God. We did not choose to do what is right. In fact, we have chosen time and time and time and time again to do what is wrong. And we have not earned anything other than condemnation. Because we have clearly, we can come up with a million examples from each of our own lives, fallen short of any kind of goodness standard. Whether you accept the Christian ethic or not, we can all agree that we all fall short in so many ways. None of us are perfect, and we mess up all the time. And because God is perfect, because he is holy, there's a chasm that is created between us and him. We have sinned against him. We are imperfect in comparison to him. And because he is holy and just and righteousness, sin and evil cannot exist in his sight. There must be justice for the evils that are committed. And justice requires a penalty to be paid. And the only way that we could ever pay that penalty is, well, there isn't one. It had to be paid for us. It had to be paid for us by someone that was perfect, that could bear the weight of our sin. And the only one that could do that is God's Son, Jesus Christ. So that's what this verse is saying. It says, for God so loved the world. It starts with him. He desired to come to us. He loves us so much that he did not want to see us stuck in our sin forever, so that he gave his only Son. He sent his perfect Son to what? to just live out a perfect life and then go back up to heaven so he could show us how to live and then we could earn our favor with him? No. No, no, no. He sent his only son so that whoever should believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. So what is that, whoever should believe in him? Believe in what? Well, believe that he died for you. Believe that he exists. Yes, that's a prerequisite for any of this. We must believe that God exists, that Christ is his son. But we also must believe that he died on the cross for us. And thereby, by taking on our sin on the cross, he has paid the penalty for us so that we could be righteous in God's sight and be forgiven. There's a beautiful song by one of my favorite songwriters named Michael Card, and the song is called Could It Be? And in the chorus it says, could it be that he would rather die than live without us? Could it be that he would rather die than live without us? And if you just let that sink in at an emotional level, there's plenty of intellectual level where that can sink in as well, but if you just let that sink in on an emotional level for a moment, that he would rather die, he would rather send his son to suffer and die and pay the penalty for the weight of all of our sin than to live, than to choose to shield his son from that punishment without us. If we just stop for a second to realize that God's message to us is that the all-powerful creator of the universe would condescend to us. And condescend is a good thing in this case because it means him coming down to our level. And we must understand that our level is not God's level. And that's one thing that so many of these video games and movies get wrong when they try to portray gods or the God of Christianity or, angels and, spiritual warfare and stuff, is that they put us at God's level. Or more specifically, more accurately, they bring God down to our level. And God, in his infinite power and wisdom, sent his son to die for us. But we could have never been forgiven without him because the stain of our sin would have always been there. There was no way to abolish that sin because even if there was, we would have kept sinning. There would have always been distance between us and him. Okay, we're going to try this again because I don't know what's happening. We sat there and I clicked ready up and for some reason it didn't go. Maybe it doesn't go when there's only two people. So by just letting that sink in for a moment, that the God of the universe would not only care about us, not only love us, but love us so much that he would make the ultimate sacrifice so that our sinfulness, our brokenness, our wrongdoing would be washed away, to be paid for, so that we could be with him, so that he could be with us. if you can imagine, of all the love stories in all the love songs and love stories, there is no love song or love story that even comes close to conveying that kind of love, that kind of holy desire and commitment and grace and generosity. So I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. And we'll play this Heroic Gauntlet number 2 here. I just want that to sit for a minute, because that in its essence is the beauty of the Christian faith. And if you can see a glimmer of that beauty, even just one little spark,
Be careful
if you
out
can
there.
see how
We're all
compelling
counting on
that could be, if you can see the beautiful things that would lead to in terms of your own belief and in your life, intellectually, emotionally, practically, if we can see that, then we're on the beginning of the journey.
Head for the location on your HUD.
Hostiles!
These enemies must be defeated. Gotta get something off my chest! Time for some shut-eye!
I desperately needed that takedown. Starting to lose it there.
This may shock you.
Need weapon! Do your worst, please!
Nice.
The enemies have been defeated.
Easy peasy.
I left Mjolnir in the pub. You didn't worry someone would take it. None would be worthy. Come on. There must be someone. If there is, he stands beside me now.
destroy the aim power cores. Oh, you picked the wrong shift. Use the terminal. I'll get you past security.
Guess I do like it.
Oh, there's only 5 floors on this one? Okay.
Destroy all the power cores.
So I made a list of games I'm excited for,
This may
and I went. The standard was basically, or the filter was basically, games that have a announced release date between now and the end of 2021.
Power core down.
time out.
Some of these games are going to be, you're probably never going to have heard of them before. Some of them will be pretty well known.
Guess I do like it.
There are games that are noticeably absent from this list that I'm disappointed are probably not coming out this year. The most prime example of that's probably Hollow Knight Silksong. They didn't have any information at E3 this year, and they even put out a little blog post saying that they weren't going to have any information at E3 this year. And given how long it took Hollow Knight to develop and how long they spent on the DLCs and how long it's been since Hollow Knight launched, I think a 2021 release for that game is probably too early. So I'm not expecting that to come out this year. It would be a big surprise if it did. I think we're probably looking at least spring of next year, if not summer, maybe fall of next year. Actually, that raises a good question. I don't remember when Hollow Knight came out. It came out in 2017. I just don't remember what month it came out. Let's
Enter
look
the
that up.
location on your HUD.
February 24th. Okay. So spring next year would be 5 years.
Take him out.
Boy, did you choose the wrong side.
So 5 years I think would be not totally unrealistic, given that the DLCs that they
These
did
enemies
weren't.
must be defeated.
They weren't massive DLCs. They were sizable, but they wouldn't have required full-time work for the whatever that was, like year and a half or whatever that they were working on them. So that's the biggest game that's not on this list, because it has no release date announced. But as for games that are on the list, there was a game that just came out actually in late June, and I missed its release date. I had been kind of looking forward to it for a little while, but I had never heard the announcement of the release date, and it just slipped by me. A game called Evergate. And it has its art style is looks kind of similar to Ori and the Blind Forest, which are that franchise is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I'm a big 2D Metroidvania fan, and Those games are just beautiful and really well designed, really fun. But this game called Evergate sort of takes a lot of inspiration artistically from that, but then has kind of its own take on it and is a little bit more of a puzzle platformer in the way it executes. So that's at least based on what I saw. Again, I haven't played it yet, but that's kind of in the trailers and stuff. That seems to be more about what it is. So I'm excited to play that one. That came out on June 25th. And I've only heard good things about it so far. There was another game called Grime that released today. Another kind of 2D Souls-like game with a pretty cool, unique graphical style. That one I do want to check out as well. That came out today. And then the next big thing is going to be the War for Wakanda expansion for this game on August 17th. So we're only 15 days away. 2 weeks from tomorrow. 2 Tuesdays from now. I think it's resets. I think they reset on Tuesday.
Look, I know I didn't do the best job of holding us together after heyday.
So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Oh, is that what I was doing?
I'm hoping they're going to make some changes to the loot system and also to just have a big list of bug fixes. But I'm not holding my breath. I think they seem really focused on getting the core kind of single player content out, and everything else is taking a back seat.
If you can gain control of AIM's
So I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not expecting big changes, big core changes to the game. Then there was a really unique game that got announced, gosh, I think it was a couple years ago now, called 12 Minutes. And in the trailer, I haven't seen anything about it since then, but in the trailer, they had it was sort of like a top-down view of a room in a house with what looked like maybe there had been a murder or something, and there was a husband and a wife, and then like an investigator or something that came in. I could be remembering details of this wrong, but it was sort of, it seemed to me like it was kind of a mystery, maybe a time travel-y kind of sci-fi game. Probably not super long and, definitely indie, but like it looked like a really interesting idea. So I've been anticipating that for a while, and that's coming out on the 19th of this month.
I'm inside AIM's security system. Don't look directly at the beam, kid.
So we may play that, actually. We'll have to see. We may play some or all of the ones that I'm listing. I'm not sure yet. And then Aliens Fireteam Elite on August 25th. I've always been a big fan of Left 4 Dead-like games. Left 4 Dead specifically. That game, I have more hours in that game than any other franchise. And so I've enjoyed Left 4 Dead. I actually like World War Z. That game is pretty fun. And Aliens Fireteam Elite looks pretty legit, so I may try that one out. That comes out on the 24th of August. And then there's another Marvel game that's coming out this month on the 25th called Marvel Future Revolution. And it's actually a mobile game, but I've seen some people that have been playing it on an emulator, a PC emulator, because I guess it had an early launch or like an early beta or something in Canada, I think it was. And so people have had access to play it on PC for free. It is a free-to-play game. It's going to be a free-to-play game, and it is a free-to-play game now. So it looks like the progression in that's pretty deep. It does look very grindy, and of course it's free-to-play, so there's going to be some pay to play mechanics, or not pay to play, but pay to progress mechanics. I'm not obviously not going to spend money on it, but I will check it out to see if it has some interesting mechanics and systems and stuff. It does have an autoplay feature, which is actually kind of compelling for me since I have pretty limited game time in the week. And then the final game for August. August is kind of a packed month, as you may have noticed. New World, that new Amazon developed MMO, is coming out on August 31st. I've tried to get into a few different MMOs before. I've always had a hard time getting into them. The type of questing that's done, especially early on in MMOs, is really boring and uncompelling for me. And so I just haven't... They've never really stuck with me.
There's a chest with gear close by.
But New World looks like it could be interesting. The big team battles look awesome. And if they're balanced correctly, those could be really fun. So it might just be worth trying out the game just for that. And then skipping September, there wasn't anything in September that has an announced release date that was compelling for me personally. But skipping ahead to October, there's Metroid Dread, which is the new Switch Metroidvania game that's going to be releasing alongside of the new OLED Switch model. So I'm looking forward to that. I may not play that one right away because that's probably going to be a full $60 release, and I typically don't play games like that right away, but I do look forward to playing it eventually. Then one of the most anticipated games for me this year is Back 4 Blood, because that's the from the developers of Left 4 Dead. And that one was actually supposed to come out in June, and they delayed it, and it's now coming out on October 12th, just before Halloween. So that's going to be legit. I'm really looking forward to that. I really hope it's not disappointing, and that they have any kind of like dumb microtransactions or pay to win stuff. I really hope they steer clear of that, and they just make a really awesome game like I know they know how. Left 4 Dead was brilliant. And I'm just hoping that this will be the Left 4 Dead 3 that we never got. The final game is there's a next-gen exclusive game called Solar Ash. I think it's a next-gen exclusive called Solar Ash, coming out on October 26th. That one looked interesting.
The enemies have been defeated.
And that one, if I'm thinking of the right game, I'm pretty sure I am, is the one with the kind of interesting, colorful, slightly cartoony graphics with the kind of movement mechanics where you're kind of like ice skating over really big enemies and stuff. That looks fascinating, so I'm looking forward to trying that at some point. Not all of these are the same level for me. Like I'm not anticipating these all equally. Like
We shall take them down.
Back for Blood's probably the most anticipated on this list. The Wakanda expansion for this game is pretty anticipated as well. I've been looking forward to 12 minutes for a while. But yeah, Back for Blood is the clear #1 most anticipated.
Every member of the elite team must be defeated.
I hope they put on the back of the box the Left 4 Dead 3 that you never got. From the developers of Left 4 Dead, we were the ones that put all the good ideas in the game. My shield was flying around and I was in the middle of doing a takedown. So are there exotics that like improve takedown damage? Because I feel like my takedowns have always been pretty weak.
They don't make them like they used to.
One of their agents is down.
See, that just took forever. Like, I feel like I should have been doing more damage than that.
Guess I do bite.
Not should have as in the game's broken. Just like,
Excellent. Another
I feel like this late in the game I should have gear that's helping that stat. If that's even a stat. I don't think that's a stat is the thing. I don't think takedown damage is a stat. Feel free to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well done. That squad member has been neutralized.
Power of the All-Father!
Another enemy defeated. The team are no longer a threat.
Nice.
Let's take these guys down.
We had 2 full teams of 4 with no disconnects. The first Hive Gauntlet and the second Hive Gauntlet, we've had no disconnects. I'm actually shocked.
Excellent work. You've dealt another blow to AIM. You're not finished yet.
Okay, so what's the next? Heroic Gauntlet 3. Okay. Now, why is this 140? The first one was 145. I don't want to go there. Yeah, these titles are wrong. PS5. Sorry about that. These titles are totally wrong. Okay, he's gonna ready up, so we'll go.
Be careful out there. We're all counting on you. Head for the location on your HUD.
Enemies!
Really?
Don't give up yet, Avengers!
So, can I When do I get to respawn? Do I have to wait until... the next floor, or can I not respawn at all? I mean, if I can't respawn at all, there's not really any point in me staying, because I'm not going to be able to help him anyway.
These enemies must be defeated.
Yeah, I think I'm going to back out. Let's just restart, because we're so early on. Sorry. I might not understand the rules properly. Can you respawn in a Mega Hive? Oh, it uses that roster rotation rule. See, I don't want to do a villain sector. I want it to do... I want to do the Hive Gauntlet. Well, that doesn't look right. The heck was that? I want to be in the Utah. Yeah, something's really messed up here. Okay, let's go ahead and quit. We're going to go ahead and quit the game. Set to main menu. Go back to Avengers Initiative. So let's pick something shorter because I only got about 10 more minutes. So what can we do in 10 minutes? Complete any threat sector. Complete any vault mission. Okay. Let's do a vault. Am I just blind or threat sector? There was one that said do complete any threat sector. So I guess I could do this one. I don't know if the challenge matters as far as what loot we get.
All right, Avengers. We got word from our scouts of an attempted breakout at one of AIM's prisons. Those Inhumans need our help. You have to get all the Inhumans out safely. We can take it from there.
Understood, Dr. Pym. Searching the area now. I've located captive Inhumans. They're being kept in portable cells. You'll have to break them out.
I'm not going to go for any chests. I'm just going to go straight to the mission.
AIM unit spotted. Just like always,
Those Inhumans need you. Hurry. There they are. You'll need to destroy the locking mechanisms to open the cells.
So that doesn't do anything. Seriously?
This one is open. Feeling pretty crappy.
trouble here.
Trouble here. Thanks, pal.
I'm out of the fight.
Get up. Fight's not over.
Thank you.
Thanks, Avengers.
That did it. Theo, work your magic. You're safe now.
That was anticlimactic.
Scratch another bad guy. Hold still.
The cells are all open. Nice work.
Stay sharp.
There are Inhumans caught in a standoff up ahead. Better hurry. There is an elite AIM unit near you. Defeat them, and you may gain something useful.
Don't let them intimidate you.
Backup has arrived. Protect those Inhumans. Safe. Head for the location on your HUD.
Trail of goodies. I've never seen that before.
Your objective is ahead.
Where is it?
Disappointed it's over.
Oh. Wait, what? We have to go all the way back? Okay.
Please go to the location I've marked. Inhuman down. You must keep them safe.
Oh, are they already getting taken down?
Doesn't matter how many.
There is a chest with gear close by.
I didn't realize the battle would start without us. Okay.
Interact with the object ahead of you. These enemies must be defeated.
Great job.
The enemies have been defeated. AIM has caged a group of Inhumans for experimentation. Rescue them.
Just like always, Avengers.
I need to remember to use my exotic artifact more often. That damage boost that gives me 6% increased crit chance.
The 4 cells have a security system controlled by a separate terminal in the command center. The security must be disabled to destroy a cell, but can only go down temporarily. Move quickly. Security down. The cell is vulnerable.
This might hurt.
That Inhuman is now free. Cell security terminated. Hurry before it re-engages. You've saved another Inhuman. You may now
Just
destroy
2
the
more.
associated cell, but hurry.
So I think tomorrow night we'll try to keep going with the Mega Hive. The matchmaking wasn't working. So hopefully we'll have better luck tomorrow night.
Cell destroyed.
This might hurt.
Now you've done it.
I was literally blocking that whole time. say, man.
Security on a cell is down. You can destroy it. Humans have all been free. Sending them coordinates for evacuation.
Thanks, Avengers.
Okay, so that's it for tonight. We'll try to keep going at the Mega Hive tomorrow night. We've got 2 more sets of floors to go through. No exotics tonight, which is kind of a bummer.
Everyone's safe at the anthill thanks to you. We're making progress. But we'll keep looking.
But I'm hopeful we'll get there tomorrow.
Every last inhuman Ames holding.
So, thanks everybody for coming out. If you enjoyed your time on the channel tonight, feel free to hit subscribe, hit like. If you enjoyed the discussion that we had as well, in addition to the gameplay, I hope you guys will stick around for tomorrow night's stream. I'll be back on tomorrow night around 10 o'clock p.m. Pacific time and be streaming till around midnight. And we'll be back on Thursday, similar time frame as well. So I hope everybody has an awesome day tomorrow, and I will see you tomorrow night. Take care.